All right.
All right, let's get into
Mack,
it.
take it back.
Alabama wins tonight. Top 15 showdown. Top 15 showdown, the headline tonight in college basketball, folks. Final score, Alabama 84, Arkansas 69. This was a tie game at half at 33. But the fact is, the Crimson Tide showed us once again, now at 14-2, 4-0 in the SEC, that they're one of the nation's best. Jeff Goodman, what impressed you the most about Alabama tonight?
Well, anytime you can go into Bud Walton and get a win like that, it's really, really significant. You know, Mack knows how hard it is to get road wins in league play against quality opponents. Now, having said that, you know, Arkansas still is trying to find its way, right? They've lost their two most talented players here. Trevin Brazile is out for the year. He's probably a first-round pick, could be a lottery pick, tore his ACL. And now Nick Smith Jr. is out for a while, right? He's rehabbing in LA. I put it out there the other day that the hope is he will come back. He's only played, I think, 3.5 games so far this year. So you're not looking at a full Arkansas team, but again, you don't want to take away what Alabama did going into Bud Walton, a very, very tough environment, and coming away with a win, especially with the first half that Brandon Miller played.
I mean, Alabama was in the second half as impressive as a team I've seen all year. I mean, to think the fact that they have 3 freshmen that, you know, can go into that type of an arena. You know, most times when a guy like Brandon Miller, for instance, doesn't score in the first half, you know, it's because he's 0 for 11. He's got 2 fouls. He's completely rattled. You know, I give Arkansas credit. They tried to really take him away, but it didn't fluster him. It didn't frustrate him. And then to see what he did in the second half, you know, the back-to-back threes, just the nail in the coffin at the end. He is a big-time player.
The maturity, right, Mack? The maturity was what sticks out, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know, just to watch him not get frazzled, not you know, go to a timeout with his palms up, like why am I not getting touched? None of that stuff. You know, he wants to win.
Yeah.
And then to have the poise to deliver in those big moments after he hasn't been on a roll, just says a lot about his maturity, his talent level. Man, he was super impressive. And then, you know, when I watched Alabama, especially in the first half, you know, obviously they scored a lot in the second half, but in the first half, their length just around the basket, I felt like Arkansas missed a lot of layups, and it's not because, you know, Arkansas was tight. There was some intimidation around the basket, trying to get the ball up quickly that just sort of rolled off the rim. And, you know, the length that Alabama has is as good as anybody in the country. It's impressive.
Well, the length that Alabama has, and here's the other caveat to this game and this matchup, Jeff. Arkansas is not a great perimeter shooting team. They go 2 of 10 from 3. So you can't drive it on Alabama. They're going to protect the rim. And it's not like they could kick it out to somebody who could break the ice.
They just packed it in. Alabama defensively just packed it in and absolutely dared Arkansas to shoot it because they can't.
Yeah.
Frankly, they can't. You know, Nick Smith, one of their better shooters. Brazile was actually making shots early this season.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Not at a high clip, but enough to keep defenses honest. Now there's so much on Ricky Council, and he didn't do much. Actually, I thought in a way that, and I don't know how you felt, Mack, if you were Arkansas, I know you could look at it in the way of like Alabama, you're fortunate because Brandon Miller had done nothing and you're tied. Right. But I thought Arkansas played poorly in the first half, and they still went in tied, and Ricky Council hadn't done anything. And he's like their only dude that, to me, you can give the ball to and just say, hey, go get us a bucket. And he hadn't really done anything.
Yeah, I just think when I've seen Arkansas at their best this year, a lot of their offense is generated from their defense. You know, they get out in transition. You know, that there's not as much reliance on the 3-point shot at that point. Not to say they can't execute in the half court, but it's a lot different game when you get guys going to the rim and transition, getting to the foul line. And, you know, that was another Achilles heel really for both teams, you know, but Arkansas especially didn't shoot well from the foul line. And I just think that if they're not in a game where they can block shots and get out in transition, it's going to be a tougher game for them, just how their team's built.
Jeff, I've got to ask you this question here off this win, and now at 14-2 and 4-0 in the SEC. Is there a case to make that Alabama is the best team in the country?
You can make a case, sure, absolutely. I mean, what they've done, I know obviously they lost to UConn. I saw them lose to UConn in Portland. I don't know if I put them at number one, but you can make a case that Alabama is right there. And, you know, again, the part that to me is so encouraging if you're Nate Oates is a lot of these kids are freshmen. You know, they're still, they've got a long way to grow. And he's going to lose Brandon Miller. He knew he may lose Noah Clowney because that kid is super talented. I mean, 6'10", can step out, can shoot it, can run, can jump, athletic, skill. He's got the whole package. So I think, again, if you're looking at Alabama and a team that now, again, I worry about Alabama. I still think they can have one of those games where they shoot 2 for 15 from 3 and they get knocked out early in the tournament, but that's just about anybody.
NIL, baby. NIL.
Right? It helps. It helps.
Brandon Miller, come on back, man. Continue to mature, get bigger, get stronger, be the SEC player of the year. You know,
the best thing.
Put a little of that football money from Alabama in your pocket, you know, if you're Brandon. And then, you know, keep him around a couple years, Nate.
You know what the greatest thing about Brandon Miller and his family, talking to people, I sat down with him for about 45 minutes in
great kid.
Portland.
Great kid.
Unbelievable. Legitimately, and I know some kids will say this, and you're like, yeah, you're full of shit. Like, NIL does not matter. Like, he and his family are legitimately, they're smart enough to understand, like, whatever it is, $400,000 is going to be nothing at the end of the day. It's first contract, second contract in the NBA. This is
right.
Nothing.
And I don't say that because he's not an NBA player, but I think the most important thing that you can do when you come into the league is impact. You know, not be the guy that's sort of 11th, 12th man. He's not ready. And if Miller puts himself in a position, again, he can do whatever he wants. He's that talented. But if he puts himself in a position where he goes in and he's producing at the NBA level day one, and maybe he can, you know, I mean, there's been other big time freshmen that can. I guess a large part of that will be sort of play out over the next few months. But the thing is, he has today is it's not nothing if you come back to school. you can make good money while you wait.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, he's definitely not coming back to school.
I'm not saying he is.
Right. This is the chance. He's got him coming back to school. Hopefully, you know, Nate Oates won't pull up Rick Barnes with what Rick did to Kevin Durant early and try to convince him to come back to school.